Noise. What's all this noise? So there's a lot of noise out there in this dazzling projection that we see. Uh, no, but really, there's a lot of noise that's almost built to distract you enough from the truth, enough from yourself, honey. Yeah, literally. Think about it because everyone gets so consumed and they find a way, or sometimes without even intending to, but they're always escaping, they're always distracting with, you know, things like this. And the apps in it. Okay. Uh, there's so much distraction. There's so many, right? And it's as good as it all being designed, being built to literally keep you from really spending time in quietude, actually pausing and remembering who you are. You know, I'm not saying that this has been intentionally designed and built to do so, but the fact that most of it does consume so many and they get sucked into it and bought by it, it is then used um, as a form of trick, if you will, to do something, to get something out there or propose something, knowing, very well that, this will do the job, this will work, because that's what most crave anyway. That's what most indulge in anyway, right? Consumerism, we all know that. So while it may have, in the very beginning, started off innocently, again, well intended, right? Because the internet is an incredible invention. I mean, incredible is an understatement, and I bet we all agree. But the extent of how so many are letting themselves not only be dictated, but get consumed. I use this word consumed because it's so true. That's exactly what happens, right? Um, it leaves you unaware to other very significant um, facets, right? Other very significant aspects of this, not only the human experience, but again, most importantly, where the human experience is sourcing from. And that's you, right? You, not as the vessel you, but you as the consciousness you, the energy, the soul you, the higher self, the highest self you, right? That again is sourced from the ultimate, which is the ultimate consciousness. So when you are distracted by all this, right, there's little, to put it in words that are easier to absorb, it's very easy to get sort of swept in it, taken in it, and not, and have very little time, if you will, have very little time to yourself. You have very little time to actually reflect, to actually pause, right? Because I assure you that even just reflecting on the entire day and what it is you do and how aware you are and how self aware you are is something that very, very few do. Um, and that's terrifying. I can't think of anything so terrifying than a being who is literally devoid of self awareness. Okay? Yeah, that's. So there's magic, there's ability, there's power, there's absolute sheer power, as Anthony Hopkins would say. There's absolute sheer power, okay, in self awareness. Oh boy, you have no idea. So it's very easy to get swept away, to indulge, to escape, to get distracted. Um, Very easy, you know. Shell out a lot of examples um, of, 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 of ways and beings, I've experienced that do really, indulge and get super consumed. But this is where awareness steps in, where you're aware enough to be aware of how it is that you are, um, or rather, how your identity is operating while having the human experience. Okay, so you might want to ask yourself, the best thing that you could do in this is start with asking yourself why, right? Why? Because as I say, it's always in the why, right? The answers you seek, the things you crave, the things you wonder about, the things you question, the things you just really want to know, they're all in the why, right? Your choices, all of them, everything that you interact with, right? From other beings to situations to scenes to whatever, right? But it is in your choices, in everything, literally everything. It all comes down to the why. And once you know your whys, once you know your whys, oh, you're golden. You're set. So that's the best. That's the best place where you can actually, you know, propel from.